Good afternoon, guys. Hope everyone is well. Let me just get this stream up, make sure everything's working okay. So yeah, Sunday early evening. I'm doing this whilst Manchester United are playing Tottenham first half. So that is dedication to the live stream. So I'm going to stream probably up until second half, and then I'm going to stop and watch the second half. That's the plan. So let me just check everything's working okay. Yeah, so today I'm going to go through and I'm going to work on doing some bus processing on the track I've been working on. I did a live stream on last week or whenever it was. I was actually sick last week from Thursday onwards. I had a really bad case of food poisoning for about 4 days, so I wasn't able to do my second live stream on this track, but I'm kind of on the mend. Today's the first day I feel kind of back to normal, which is good. So yeah, I'm going to do some bus processing for kind of working on trying to enhance the groove of things, and then we'll see how much time we have. Maybe I'll hopefully do some parallel processing as well. That's the plan. Cool. Okay, so let's dive right in. Let's just cut across to the right view. What view should we use today? Let's go side on, see if it works. Can't see it on there, but never mind. I'm just wondering actually whether... Anyway, it's fine. Okay, so I'm not seeing my camera. Let me just try it on this view. Okay, so I think it's because I'm using... Yeah, I can use one. Yeah, that's sorry. Technical issues, don't worry, all good. So this is the track. It's called It's You, and I did a stream on it last week. So if you want to see me working on some additive EQ for this track, then make sure you rewind and check out that live stream that was on there. And let me just refresh your memory. Yeah, so I was just enjoying listening to it there. Yeah, so that's the vibe. It's kind of fluty vibes. It's got a sample that comes in a little bit later. Rainmaker. Every challenge to Rainmaker. Yeah, so you get the idea. get the idea. So what we're looking at now is this is all mixed in. This track is kind of like, it's cool. It's just a little vibe. It's kind of, but I'm not really kind of overthinking. It's not one of those tracks I feel like I really need to like just just go off one on the mix and really, yeah. It's just I just think it sounds cool. It's kind of sounded cool from the start. It's not really a lot of stuff doing to it. There's not loads of vocals in it and stuff. So it's kind of it's been fairly easy to work on. But what I've done is I've bust everything together. So we should have silence now. So we've got all the drums called vocal, which is basically just sample, bass, piano, guitar, and the harp, and flute, and then effects. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to jump across and do a little bit of parallel processing. Now, importantly, I've got all the reverbs and stuff for each of the sounds routed to the same bus as far as I've been able to. So the early reflections and the reverb tail is going into the drum bus. So when I do the parallel processing and the bus processing, then we're going to be working with adding that processing onto the reverb as well as the original sound, which is good because it will kind of bring all that out as well, which hopefully will sound cool. So let's have a look at some things we could try here. So this is the drums. So what I could do here is this is the basically what the drums are doing. So all the compression of the drums is following the same structure, which is 30 millisecond attack, letting all the transients through, and then 125 millisecond release, which at 120 beats per minute is a 16th note. So the drums are kind of pumping at a 16th note value, basically. So that's what that compressor's doing. So I could feed in the same strategy with my bus processing, but just a little bit more kind of full on. Let's go with Fab Filter Pro C2, just because it's just quick and easy way of getting some different vibes up. So I'll just put it in quickly. So 30, 125. In fact, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to copy and paste it because it will be quicker. Copy, paste, but I could be a little bit more extreme here because we're doing it in parallel, and I could try something other than clean. So I could try pumping, for example, or bus or something. So let's see what this gives us. Now I'm mixing into a bit of limiting here. I've got an ozone. For some reason, this track's mixed really low. I don't know why I've done that, but yeah, I've got this right down to threshold, and I'm even boosting the input going in, which isn't particularly good. So I don't know how I've ended up doing that, but never mind, it's all good. This isn't my master chain, this is just a working master chain. So actually when it comes to doing the proper master chain, I'm going to gain stages properly and have the right volume coming in. But so this is basically adding some parallel processing to the drums. Hard knee, so we're hitting it quite hard. We could probably hit this harder. I've got a maximum range set here. See how much big that makes the drums. I mean, it's making them louder, but it's just bringing them out front. Much more flat like that. So I'm just noticing things about the mix. I've done this mix in headphones, mostly because I've been doing it on live streams. So it's kind of a little bit, sometimes, it's not perfect, but anyway. Okay, so that's one option is the pumping. We could try clean setting. Classic, that's doing obviously a lot less pumping. it's just so much more lumpy without that compression in. So I'm gonna copy this over to the second slot, put it onto pumping, and try and do a little comparison. Yeah, I think I quite like that pumping setting. No, I think I prefer the bus one actually, so let's take it out again. So we're adding volume, but we're also adding a little bit of extra kind of just grit and kind of presence to the drums as well. So the next thing is the sample. Now I try and leave the sample fairly untouched because, you know, it sounds great as it is, and I don't want to just add things in for the sake of it. But what's sometimes a bit of a problem with this is that you may end up just adding volume as well, which we always going to do when you do parallel. So it can actually change the mix a little bit. So I usually try and do something, even if it's something quite kind of transparent. So usually when I want to just do something transparent, I often try using MV2, which is from Waves, which is a low level compressor, which brings up sounds below the threshold. It can add in quite a lot of detail, which can be quite nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so bass. So let's do something with the bass. Let's use another Pro C2, and let's do this in opto mode. And I want to keep the bass really kind of, I'm going to try 5 milliseconds, kind of fast attack, and I'm going to double the, in fact, let's try doing it 500 milliseconds, which is going to be a quarter note. So it means that the compressor is going to be pumping a lot slower to the bass, basically. So it's really going to be holding it kind of solid in a position with an opto setting, which is like an LA2A. Now the volume's way higher, so I want to try and match these, so I don't want to change the mix in terms of the volume I'm adding. The opto setting, let me just compare that. Like, just focus on how it makes the bass so much smaller in the opto setting than the clean setting. Maybe it's a bit more compression, but it just sounds much more contained to me, which I quite like. So I'm going to leave that on as it is. The piano, I'm just probably going to do another MV2 on the piano. Okay, let's try just copying across the drum setting for the guitars and the harp. Yeah, I don't mind that. So the flute, I'm going to copy across MV2 again. Again, just going to add detail. It's not doing anything. Well, it is compressing it, but it's bringing up the low-level signals. So it's just going to bring up presence and detail. Okay, so MV2, I put MV2 on the effects as well because they're just the effects. So I'm just again, it's basically a way of adding something other than just volume to make sure that I don't ruin the mix. So let's take all these parallel chains out. So I guess the question is does it sound now too crunchy and a bit distorted sounding, or does it sound more groovy? I'm just going to ease off the limiting a little bit. I just want to say hi to Silto. Thanks for tuning in and for giving me 3 hand claps. Nice one, mate. Cheers. So yeah, so I'm kind of toying with it being a little bit too crunchy, or it definitely adds some groove, I think. More flat, a bit more alive, a bit more shaken up. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I think that sounds cool. So here are my bus processors here, and I've got some LFO tool going on these. Now, I'm going to put the processing before the LFO tool. But what I like to do with the bus processing, and what I might do with this, I might just do it with Logic's compressor. Yeah, I'm just going to do it with the Logic compressor. And I'm going to do it with, let's try it with vintage VCA mode. And let's try 125 release, which is a 16th note, 30 millisecond attack, and this is going to be simple because I'm going to use the same settings, but I'm just going to amend the release the threshold and ratio to get the same amount of compression for each one. So no auto gain, 1 dB. I'm going to go for about a dB of compression. Now, if you find it's just responding to the kick and you don't want that, then use the side chain to determine what it's going to respond to. Now it's going to be a little bit more responsive to this is the drums, by the way. I'm going to be responding a bit more to the other drums. If you want it to be more like the meat of the drums, bring the ratio down, bring the threshold down so it's more amongst the overall drum sound. So now it's more responding to the drums overall. In fact, it's probably not responding enough to the kick now. Let's go to a bit where the sample plays. Okay, so we've got the sample. These are all working now to the same groove values. Let's get the bass going. Now I probably don't want as much of the sidechain going on. In fact, I'm just going to turn it off. Let's try piano. I hope we hear a difference at the end of this. So this is the guitars. So I'm basically trying to get the sounds pumping in the same way using this bus compression. It's the flute. Now I find with the flute, you've got to be careful with compressing the flute because flutes and compression don't seem to get on that well together, so just be careful. This is the effects, all the crunchy little vinyl sounds and whatever else. So it's hard to get this to actually do anything because it's so quiet. And in fact, I'm just going to run it through the plugin and not really compress it because it's just so low level and insignificant that I'm not even going to bother. But let's take this in and out. So this is basically, I hope you understand what I'm doing here. I've got all the drums bus to one bus, all the sample. I've put vocal there. It should say sample really. Sample going through another bus. I've got all of the bass going through a bus. It's only one bass part. Piano going through piano strings and some reverse piano. Guitar and harp going through another bus. Flute going through a bus. Effects going through a bus. And I've got the same settings on each one of the buses, doing some compression, which is supposed to glue those sounds together and also tie them all together with the same kind of groove. And that groove is attack 30 milliseconds, that in transits through, and then at 120 milliseconds, the groove is accentuating a 16th note because it's 125 millisecond release. I put 120, but I don't think I can do 125. So that's as close as I can get. It's close enough. And each one of the compressors is just doing a dB of compression and has got a makeup gain of a dB. So I'm just trying to subtly get everything kind of singing from the same hymn book, as it were. So let's see. It's going to be subtle, but let's see if it makes a difference. So what you want to focus on is front back perspective. So for me, when I bring those compressors in, the front back perspective of the mix is enhanced. So it feels like the stuff which is further back is further back, and the stuff which is forward is further forward, and the differential between those two is increased. Why is that increased? Well, compression works on volume, and volume is what tells your ear how close something is to you and how far away something is to you. So anything that manipulates volume is going to manipulate our perception of how close something is to you or how far away it is from you. So that makes sense that if something is maybe enhanced in terms of the volume, or is pumping more, the transients are coming through more, it's going to feel closer to you, and the opposite if it's going further away. So although these have all got the same settings, all the buses are going to be reacting slightly different ways. And it's basically what it's doing is kind of taking all the processing we've done so far, or I've done so far, all my EQ, all my compression, all my effects that I've added in, and it's basically just kind of enhancing them in a way and bringing them all together at the same time. So I like that. And what it's also doing is, because it's emulating an SSL compressor, what it's also doing is adding a subtle mid-range, a kind of increased, enhanced mid-range, which is helping it push through. And that's actually something which is important on this track, because this track is a little bit bottom heavy and it needs a bit of help in the mid-range. So I think it's actually doing something pleasing on it. Now, something else we could try here is, where would we do this? Let's do it beforehand. So I'll do it on each one of the channels. I hope my CPU doesn't give out on me, so apologies if it does, but let's give it a go. I'm going to use NLS bus, and I'm going to do this, and hopefully it's going to come up with VCA mode. So these should all be in a VCA mode. So if I click on them, they should all say VCA mode 1. That is true. So that means that when I go to VCA groups, group 1, so okay, if I change group 1 to spike, you see this changed to spike as well. Spike is an SSL emulation. That now means that each one of my buses is going through, it's like it's going through a separate bus channel on an SSL desk, which is all right, isn't it? And we can add a bit of drive as well if we wanted to drive those channels a little bit. Let's just do it ever so slightly, and let's see if this gives us anything that's good as well. Yeah, it just brings it outside. Now we could try some different options here. There's the mic desk, which is an EMI desk. And that's a Neve desk. And I see what I've done here. I should have used the drive from here. So that meant I was only driving the drums. So if I do it from here, it means I'm driving all of them the same. Yeah, I think that works really nicely. Now, something I could even try doing is, this might kill my CPU, but is trichroma tape on each one of these channels as well. So it's basically like I'm recording to tape onto a desk using the LSL and NLS channels, and I'm using a SSL bus compressor type compressor on the buses as well. So let's see if this gives us something good. It just feels like that's just it, almost like making up for what's a bit deficient in the mix somehow, in a really good way, I think. It's just like it's grabbing all the bits that don't quite come out enough, bringing them out more, and all the bits that do come out too much, it's holding them in place. It's kind of weird. Okay, so all three of these together, let's take them out and bring them in. Now it's doing something nice, but it's adding a bit of distortion, which I don't think I want. So what I might do is take the drive out and see what that's like. Yeah, I like it. So what we've done today, let's take out everything. In fact, I'll do it this way. This will be quicker. So let's take out the parallel processing and the bus processing. Much flatter, lifeless. There's something I don't like about it. I'm trying to work out what it is. Something about the clap that I'm not into. What it is. I think it's that drive that I'm not enjoying on the clap. It's almost like it just with that extra bus processing in it, whatever I've done to the clap is not working. Now, so because we've done this processing as well, we're going to be giving ourselves a slightly fatter mix, which hopefully means if I get my compressor, my limiter up, so with no real mastering at all, you see it's just got I've just got one limiter. In fact, let me just bring my my little clipper in as well. So I'm able, what I'm looking at basically is, am I able to get this kind of, am I able to get this pretty loud? Basically, without any mastering, other than just these two limiters, I'm able to get things up to about, yeah, about minus 8 which is good enough, definitely. And it means that when I do mastering and a bit more parallel compression, and I work things a little bit more, bit of EQ, I'll be able to get this track nice and loud. So I'm pretty happy with that. So to recap, I did that parallel compression for each one of the sounds using a combination of Pro C2 and MV2. MV2 is a low-level compression, and then I've also used some tape saturation, some NLS bus mimicking an SSL desk, and then just the lowly Logic compressor in the SSL mode with the same settings on each one of the sounds to just tie everything together, glue it together, and bring it to life a little bit more. And that's it. So, guys, have a great end to your weekend. And I'll be back this week doing some more live streaming. I hope you found that useful. And yeah, see you during the week at some point.